Topping today's news, the Boundaries Commission report tabled, and there are 2 new constituencies. The country records its second and third traffic fatalities for the year. The deal to finance the new specialty hospital nearing completion, and the Bahamas tourism industry wins a global technical award. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News, and it is a pleasure to have you join us. After almost a year of deliberation, today it was announced in the House of Assembly by the Speaker of the House, Patricia DeVoe, that 2 new constituencies have been created by the Boundaries Commission.
In accordance with Article 72, calls for the creation of the additional seats, namely 1, Bimini and Berry Islands, 2, St. James and Western New Providence. These will be the 2 seats a part of the Boundaries. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the members. Justice Gregory Hilton, Honorable I. Chester Cooper, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, and the Honorable Shannon Dawn Cartwright, who all made up a part of the Boundaries Commission, along with myself as the chair.
St. James will be created out of Western New Providence, and the Bimini and Berry Islands constituency, which existed between 1982 and 1987, will be formed by separating from West Grand Bahama and North Andros. The number of parliamentary constituencies now stands at 41. For the constituency of Bimini and the Berry Islands, it is not the first time, like we said, those 2 chain of islands, they paired back in 1982. George Weech was the Member of Parliament for Bimini and the Berry Islands between 1982 and 1987. There is also expected to be an additional western seat here in New Providence. Initially, we thought that seat would be named Clifton, but it is indeed St. James. Free National Movement and opposition leader Michael Pintard shared his views on the Boundaries Commission's report that was tabled in the House of Assembly this morning. He stated that the government has not in any major way addressed the fundamental issues that the Boundary Commission is established to deal with.
They have recommended 2 new seats, and they've made some adjustments in polling divisions, in a few others. One thing for sure, we know that you could change the lines, but you can't change the minds of Bahamians. And so we're looking forward to contesting this election, and we believe in future. One of the things we will do when we're in government is to address the issue of lack of parity in terms of the number of voters in the various seats.
Mr. Pintard gave examples of this parity issue that he claims, particularly in Grand Bahama. He said that if they were truly interested in greater parity across Grand Bahama, they would notice that there is at least 1,300 voter difference between West Grand Bahama and East Grand Bahama. Mr. Pintard also addressed the Bahamian people, telling them to register as quickly as possible before the election approaches.
I think they missed an opportunity to deal with a number of issues, but we're not going to be preoccupied with that. We just want voters, please, go and transfer. If you have questions on whether you are suitably, appropriately registered, if you're in the right area, move quickly to go to parliamentary and get these issues resolved. Election is imminent. You have no idea when the House will be dissolved and we go to the election, so please move quickly.
Mr. Pintard calling for quick action before the next general election, stating that the boundaries issue is still a question of justice and democratic balance, noting that there remains an imbalance of voter representation from one constituency to the next. The election can be called at any time, although the governing party, PLP, has not yet named all of their candidates. Police are investigating an horrific traffic accident on the island of Eleuthera that has left 2 males, ages 21 and 28, dead. Traffic police say shortly before 7 a.m. this morning, officers responded to a traffic accident along Queens Highway in Palmetto Point, Eleuthera, where 2 vehicles had a head-on collision. The first vehicle, a white Ford Transit, was driven by a male, and had 2 additional passengers. The 2 occupants, both males, were airlifted to New Providence for further medical treatment, while the remaining individual was treated and discharged from the local clinic. The second vehicle, a Nissan Bluebird, was driven by a male and occupied by 1 male passenger. Both occupants of that Bluebird were extricated using the jaws of life. They were pronounced deceased at the scene of that accident. The investigation into this matter continues. Police are also investigating a fatal traffic collision that occurred on Saturday, January 3rd, which claimed the life of a 64-year-old male pedestrian. Preliminary reports indicate that shortly before 4 p.m. on Bahamas Games Boulevard, a pedestrian was struck by a black Nissan Juke. The victim, identified as Vincent Hepburn, a father of 5, was transported to the hospital for medical treatment, but succumbed to his injuries later that evening, shortly after 8 p.m. It was the first traffic fatality for 2026, which now stands at 3 for the year. According to 1197's records, there were 68 traffic fatalities in 2025. That was up from 66 recorded in 2024. The long-awaited specialty hospital project moving closer to reality. On Monday, the Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Michael Dovell, spoke about the recent progress, confirming that the key financial agreement with the Chinese Exim Bank has reached an advanced stage. The hospital is estimated to cost some $267 million, with the Chinese funding approximately $195 million over a 20-year period at a 2% interest rate.
The specialty hospital is ongoing. I'm pleased to report that the Chinese Exim Bank forwarded a document to the Ministry of Finance that was signed and forwarded back to Beijing for finalization. Once that is in our possession, then all of the other details associated with the project will be finalized.
Dr. Dovell also spoke about transparency and the parliamentary oversight once the final document is in hand.
Once that exists, I've made it very clear in the House of Assembly that I would bring a communication in the House where I would lay on the table all of the parameters associated with that contractual signing. But I'm pleased to report that the document, the final document from the Exim Bank over the holiday, was FedExed to the Bahamas. It was signed and forwarded back to Beijing. We're just speaking with our embassy in Beijing now for finalization, and once I get that information, I will be very transparent and notify the House of Assembly at the appropriate time of all of the transactional agreements.
Dr. Dovell said with the Chinese Exim Bank documents now exchanged and the final steps underway in Beijing, the long-awaited hospital moves closer to breaking ground. The remainder of the funding, some $72 million, will be funded locally or internationally by the Ministry of Finance. You're watching JCN TV News. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back following these commercials.